How's everybody doing out there? This is the Real Black Effect, and I am Nico B. I wanna, I just wanna address this topic here because I just talked about Keefe D, Tupac and the betrayal of Tupac Shakur. This is in Tupac's life. Tupac experienced a lot of betrayal. He sure did. What is betrayal? When people backstab you, when they tell you one thing and then turn around and do another thing. That is called betrayal. And it doesn't matter what time we're living in, 1996, 1993, 2003, 2023. Betrayal is betrayal. Loyalty is loyalty. Character is character. Integrity is integrity. And when you snake your loved ones or people you call your friends and then try to go about your life, there is an evil spirit that comes upon you that's behind that gets behind you and you're gonna have to be punished for that. It's gonna sit on your life because God doesn't like that. God doesn't like disloyal, unfaithful weirdos. Where do you see that in the Bible? Where do you see? Look at Judas. Judas is the son of perdition. Judas killed himself. Once Judas betrayed Jesus, the evil spirit was on him so hard he killed himself. He wanted to, you know what I'm saying? That's what happens. See, God don't like that. God don't like ugly, man. God don't like you saying getting a friend and betraying him. See, what if Jonathan had a betrayed in the Bible, in the Holy Bible? What if Jonathan had a betrayed David? What if Jonathan just, what if you got a right-hand man and he just sleep with your wife? You gonna look at him the same way? I wouldn't even want to be around that person no more. Because what you've done is you've betrayed me. All right, so Tupac was betrayed by, first of all, his father left. His mama told him that his father was dead. So this is a dual betrayal. The father was going through whatever, and him and the mother couldn't be together or whatever. And she was on drugs. But she told Tupac that he was dead. So Tupac thought his father wasn't even alive anymore. That's betrayal. That is a level. It's a level of betrayal. And this is from your own mother. But Tupac forgave her. You're gonna forgive your mother. As Tupac, grew up, he was betrayed by his people in his own community. They turned their back on him. And this is how, because Tupac wasn't always just super rugged, thugged out. And this is how it is in the community, in our community. Those type of kids, like Tupac was at first, going to art school, being nice and stuff like that, the ghetto sweeps them up, chews them up, spits them back out. They don't make it. They have to get out and go somewhere else. Tupac was betrayed by Jada Pinkett. When he came at her the first time, she friend zoned him. That's fine and dandy. They were best friends and all that. But when he came back as the thugged out Tupac and all that, that's when that's when Jada Pinkett was infatuated with Tupac. And Tupac never got together. But I think that was something, and I think it was either due to hugging with being married to Will Smith and trying to keep that squeaky clean image instead, but really having true feelings and passions for Tupac. But you never know. That's something that those two know. And but still, like I said, Tupac felt betrayed by girls, by Jada Pinkett and women then, because they didn't like him when he was trying to be himself. Or well, I ain't gonna say being himself, because those both of those personas are two parts of Tupac. But when he was, when he initiated being nice, we all try to do that. You know, we all have had a similar experience as, trying to be as males. Look at Ice Cube on that movie Boys in the Hood. Like, like how he was with females. Like, we try to be nice at first, but then some guys develop that type of mentality. But that's definitely not the right way to go. But so that was a betrayal. Tupac eventually, got a record deal. He started with Digital Underground. Digital Underground and Shock G, Money B, they gave him a start. And this was under Interscope Records. He eventually went solo and recorded Tupacalypse Now. This is Tupac's first album, Tupacalypse Now. That album, a lot of people, attribute it to being a classic or being an inspiration to them. But a lot of people didn't really pay attention to Tupac at that time. It's a certified gold album. I didn't pay attention to Tupac like that at the time. And I didn't mention around the same time, Tupac was making friends with Big Stretch of the Live Squad. Big Stretch was also on the song Pain with Tupac on the Above the Rim soundtrack. That's one of my favorite songs one of my favorite hip hop songs of all time is Pain by Tupac and Big Stretch, and that's on the Above the Rim soundtrack. You can also type that into YouTube and you'll see a live performance of that at the Apollo, and that's an awesome live performance, man. Tupac, man, he was really going through it, man. Pain. That's like illustrates a lot of our lives as young black men in the inner city America. But so Big Stretch Betrayed was one of the great betrayals of Tupac Shakur. And this is around the time where Tupac was betrayed. Another great betrayal was from Haitian Jack and the woman, I don't even remember her name. The woman who accused Tupac of rape, falsely accused Tupac Shakur of rape. Those were ultimate betrayals of Tupac Shakur. That comes from Haitian Jack and the woman who accused him of rape. And in that same instance, you had a betrayal that came from Big Stretch, who was having communications with Big Stretch and the Live Squad, because his brother Majesty was aware of that out of his own mouth. Those two was in communication with Haitian Jack in communication with Jimmy Henchman, who was plotting on Tupac and planning to go to war with him. Jimmy Henchman and his crew, and he felt disrespected by Tupac and wanted to teach him a lesson. You've heard all this stuff. So Big Stretch, instead of when Tupac said this, when they were in the studio, Tupac said he had the double Glocks. This is why Tupac felt super betrayed by Big Stretch. I'm gonna tell you, listen to Big Stretch lyrics on that song Pain, stuff like that. See, this is why rap is WWE. You understand? Because Tupac knew this. And in the song Holla at Me, he said this. He said, man, how could you do me like that? I took your family in. I put some cash in your pocket, made you a man again. Now you let the fear put your ass in a place complicated to escape. It's a fool's fate. I let the world know, nigga, you can never be live until nigga say you a shell of a man. And he said, I let the world know you can never be live until you die. I'll see the bitch in your eyes. Meaning imagine when your adrenaline slows things down. That's how I've been in these situations. Not nothing like Tupac, Lord, thank God. But I've been in situations where your life may be on the line or something like that, and your adrenaline will slow it down. Tupac probably was looking at his partners. He probably was looking at Big Stretch like, I just know Big Stretch gonna grab one of these niggas. Or, you know what I'm saying? Or just, he gonna at least grab a nigga so I could bust, or, he not just gonna drop to the ground. He not just gonna fall. He gonna, you know what I'm saying? You ain't got, y'all niggas ain't strapped. Pac was the only one riding, and he just felt like, and he just looked at him like in slow motion and just probably seen like Big Stretch like just in total fear, like something he never, like he couldn't picture from the character that is portrayed on the raps. That's why Tupac felt ultimately betrayed by him. And then he was in communication with him too. You know, not saying he set it up, but you in communications with him. Then he, you know, so Biggie, another ultimate betrayal. He felt like they knew. And then once it happened, they started taking credit for it. They didn't have to make them songs and drop them at the time that they did. Diddy, Puff Daddy, yeah, Puffy. He was the author and had the hand and all that, but Biggie was down with it. They knew what they was doing. That's why Tupac depicted them both in the video. You know, when he had depicted them as Piggy and Buffy, and you know, he depicted them both because he knew that they was both in on it. And even like I said, even if they didn't set it up, they played it in the power move. Like, this is what happened. Nobody, you know, the truth is the truth, man. You know, we can say what we want and have speculations, but the time this has already happened. The truth is the truth. It's already played out. We already know this. You've heard this from multiple sources that you could even put it together. It's like a puzzle here. This is a really one of our profound stories, man, in our community, like and of our time, like in pop culture, because just the way that it was ignored, like the murders were just unsolved, and you know, even though like the stuff it was right in the music and right in people's face, because people like Biggie and you know Pac and other folk, they flipped these raps and played with y'all like a serial killer would. They put this stuff in the music. Puff Daddy had a hand in it. All rappers did it. Every one of them. You know, the good ones. The other ones couldn't, like the ones who not good, they couldn't pull it off. But the good ones, they pulled it off. Like that's some Merovingian stuff. Like that's some real Da Vinci Code stuff. Give us credit, man. Niggas are smart. So, and you know, we also know at one point in time, black crime didn't really, like that happens in the ghetto. It don't matter who it's from. You know, that really didn't matter. You know, and not saying it didn't matter to everyone, but it wasn't on a high priority list. So all of those incidents happened around this time that Tupac had already dropped his second album, Strictly for My Niggas, and that gained little critical success. But around that time is when all of this stuff happened. He created Thug Life, and then he went to jail for the alleged rape, the false accusation of rape, and he was released by 1995. He was bailed out by Suge Knight, and he joined Death Row Records. The next betrayal of Tupac was from the Dogg Pound. Biggie Smalls had Snoop Dogg and the Dogg Pound trailer. He had their trailer shot up at his word. He pretty much gave the G call on the live radio for Brooklyn to stand up and go do something to the Dogg Pound. They did. And Snoop and the Dogg Pound made a diss track against Biggie Smalls. You can go look it up on the internet. It's finally been released. It was garbage, but they did. In New York, there was a whole dig at them. The video they changed, you know, them kicking down the towers. So with that being said, the Dogg Pound still was hanging out with and in communication with Biggie and people in New York. And not saying that Tupac was against the whole New York, but they were in contact with the New York artists, the same people like Tupac was having beef with. They were part of the Crip gang, which is the same gang that Keefe D and Orlando Anderson was a part of. They could have liaisoned the situation, you know, and kind of, they had hands in fueling these things. By meaning, well, they were dissing Biggie with Pac. They were with it. They weren't just super friendly and and on terms with, I mean, they just weren't super loving and welcoming of New York artists like that, and they were riding with their crew. That's just how it was. You saw the Source Awards. This was pretty much like it could have got ugly, but they were in communications with other artists and Biggie, and who knows, it probably was in communications with Puffy, which brings me to the final betrayal of Tupac, and one of the most pivotal betrayals is the betrayal of Snoop Doggy Dogg. Yes, the other half of America's Most Wanted. This is a person who, at the height of the beef, goes on the radio station and pulls a 180. Imagine that. Imagine a person, you're the person you riding with, your lieutenant or something like that. Y'all riding and y'all at war, and then right in the height of the war, when it's at its highest, he go on the radio and say that, or he goes on the public station and says that he's with the opposition, or he has no problem with the opposition per se. And basically he was with them. Like, he wanted to do business with them. He wanted to be around them. He wanted to schmooze with them in New York. He wanted that same type of lifestyle that they was promoting. He didn't have the same spirit that Tupac did. He told you that out of his own mouth. Now, if y'all don't listen to what people tell you, you'll never learn anything. You'll just stay lost in the sauce, and that's fine. But he told you that out of his own mouth, and they didn't, because Pac was a revolutionary. He had a lot of things. He wanted to start euthanasia, unite black people around the world with through his music. He had a spiritual side to him. Pac was definitely a God-fearing person. Pac had a lot of positive qualities with his negative, and he had a lot of influence. But again, you see where the rap game turned to once Tupac and Biggie died. It went the direction of, Puff Daddy pretty much had a lot of hands in it behind the scenes. People like him, you know what I mean? Look at where it's at now. Look at it. Yeah, exactly. But if Snoop Dogg hadn't have turned and flipped like that, would things have been different? If they would have still kept the Crips out there, would those Crips been able to intervene or intercept the knowledge that of what was going to happen to him, to Tupac? Would they been, if those Crips were out, if Snoop and his Crip partners, his Crip force, the same way Pac was out there with the Outlaws and all that, if Snoop was out there to reinforce him, would that stuff have still happened? Now, I'm not blaming Snoop because he didn't shoot Tupac. But still, like, his betrayal was pivotal. Tupac probably wasn't even on point, or could have just been a little more disturbed and perturbed due to, those betrayals from him, Snoop and the Dog Pound. And Pac was riding with the MOB Bloods, yes. But Snoop and the Dog Pound and the Crips were with them. So they were all united. If Snoop had been out there with the Dog Pound and they had all been united, would Tupac still have been able to get touched like that? Would he still have gotten killed? Would he not been on point like that? So, only God himself knows, but that Tupac dealt with much betrayal throughout his life. Tupac was a man of sorrows as well. Jesus Christ is a man of many sorrows, is what they say in the Bible. And Jesus endured a lot for humanity, and just being around, trying to be righteous and do the right thing, just being around certain people, like, that stuff can drain your spirit, man. It can drain you. Like, the world is wicked and Satan runs this world. And Tupac, for some people, they were born in the wrong time, on the wrong, plane, or just the wrong place. But, Tupac suffered a lot of pain and betrayal. And, I don't think he deserved all of that, But we all, the Lord gives his toughest battles to his strongest soldiers. And with that being said, hey, Tupac's getting justice now. Keefe D They picked him up and arrested him, and who knows who's Keefe D's willing to sing like Aretha Franklin out there. Keefe D can hit a Gerald Levert, a Brian McKnight. He'll hit that mud. So you'll see who they get next. But I just want to just speak on that, the betrayals of Tupac. With that being said, this is the Black Effect. I'm gone.